Good morning and welcome. My name is Elaine Crane, and we are here to apply a modern technological business tool, the virtual meeting room, to the educational realm. Our objectives today are to conceptualize the development of virtual communication, to investigate how the virtual meeting room can be employed by educators, begin to understand the theory of transactional distance, and apply the concept of VMR to a collaborative learning setting. According to Johansson and Kwan, everyone needs face-to-face contact at one point in time to foster a smooth working relationship, to impart subtle details that can only be found in intonation and body language, and to create a camaraderie needed in a problem-solving relationship. One methodology that provides this interaction is virtual meeting rooms. There are many on the market right now, and we will touch on several as we proceed. The purpose of my clinical doctorate capstone project is to develop an interactive website that will educate Maryland advanced practice registered nurses on how to use the shifting healthcare paradigm as related to independent practice. Another, based on the collaborative mandate in the 2010 IOM report, is to use the website to foster relationships between Maryland APRNs and their state groups. To meet these goals, the website will host online educational meetings between APRNs, their lobbyists, legislators, and perhaps the general public. They will focus on discussions, ideas, and questions on APRN practice and their ongoing topics and campaigns. Most of the literature examined in this presentation is from the technology world, and much of the information is taken from the companies that market these systems. There is, however, a growing body of scholarly work that is researching the use of and the success or failure of technology in education. Here we have the search engines used. Note that Google, as a technology in and of itself, was a prominent search tool in the review. Here are the keywords used to narrow the overwhelming amount of information available. It was 1664 when Robert Hooke invented the first tin can telephone. Sound traveled along a wire between two amplifiers. Modern communications began when Alexander Graham Bell, the Scottish-born American scientist, invented the telephone in 1876. The next essential advance was closed-circuit video communication. Two systems connected to one another in a closed circuit could technically allow two people to communicate. The world's first video telephone service was created in Germany by George Schubert in 1936. In 1962, NASA used video communications through UHF-VHF radio links to keep in touch with John Glenn during his orbital flight aboard Mercury 6. In 1964, AT&T developed the picture phone that had the capability of transmitting and receiving video. It was used to talk from Disneyland to the New York World's Fair. Role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons that operate on time-sharing systems prefigured the explosion of imaginative, word-built worlds and other online environments in the 70s and 80s. The rise of social networking software, MySpace, Facebook, LinkedIn, texting and graphics on mobile devices, voice and video over IP like Skype and YouTube, and collective literary constructions like Wikipedia created a whole new awareness. Multiplayer online games from EverQuest in 1999 to today's World of Warcraft were a financial driver for vastly better 3D graphics hardware and network infrastructure. According to Bruce Damer, president and CEO of Digital Space Corporation, if telephone, radio, film, and TV helped define life in the 20th century, the virtual world is the one true medium of the 21st century. The virtual world combines aspects of all of these earlier technologies, creating something novel in human experience. If we define the virtual world as a place described by words or projected through pictures which create a space in the imagination, real enough that you can feel you are inside of it, then the painted caves of our ancestors, shadow puppetry, a good book, theater, play, or movie are all technologies to create virtual worlds. Now the computer and the network in which it lives can host virtual worlds which are inhabited and co-created by people participating from different physical locations. One of the first business virtual meeting places was Placeware, a provider of web conferencing software founded in 1996 by Xerox. Its first product, Placeware Auditorium, was rolled out in March of 1997 and used by such companies as Hewlett-Packard, Intel, Sun Microsystems, and PBS. Placeware was acquired by Microsoft in 2003 and its core product renamed Microsoft Office Live Meeting. Companies are looking for efficient, effective, and easy-to-use applications that can improve productivity and simplify the way people collaborate and communicate, said Paul Ritter, Program Manager for Collaboration and Content Management at the Yankee Group. According to the Zoom creators, today people need something that allows them to enter a conversation without experiencing any malfunctions on the screen. They need high-definition video and audio. Zoom wants the most computer-phobic person on the face of the planet to be able to use their software like a pro. In 1997, Michael Moore from the University of Wisconsin-Madison formulated the transactional learning theory. Moore's theory was originally part of a theory of independent learning developed in 1972, which appeared in the Handbook of Adult Education as transactional distance. In distance education, students and instructors experience a sense of separation that is caused by more than the simple physical distance between them that may contribute to the student's feeling of isolation and disconnectedness. This can lead to reduced levels of motivation and engagement and, consequently, attrition. Gorski and Caskby state that transactional distance theory assumes that the most profound factor in distance education is the teaching itself, and not the physical or temporal distance that separates the instructor and learner. When designing e-learning experiences, instructors must consider these two variables that affect transactional distance: structure and dialogue. Video conferencing is a two-way interactive communication delivered using a telephone or internet technologies that allows people at different locations to come together for a meeting. The video conference can be as simple as a conversation between two people in private offices, or involve several sites with more than one person in large rooms at different sites. Zoom has taken this concept, simplified it, and made it mobile. Jason Cox of Editorial Today states that distance learning can be defined simply as an involvement of students and teachers who are separated by time and space. Distance education first emerged in the 19th century when it was called a correspondence course. It has evolved through emerging technology, and today, distance education commonly refers to the use of video conferencing technologies as delivery modes. Ryan Moore proposes this updated definition. Distance learning is the use of multimedia technologies, especially video conferencing, to provide educational opportunities to all people, regardless of their proximity to centers of higher education. Most higher educational professionals see the demand for distance learning classes continuing to grow. Video conferencing and continuing advances in technology are allowing universities to build on the promise of distance learning in ways not previously considered. Stanford Continuing Studies is learning to use Zoom in their online creative writing program and online writing courses. We are in the early stages of figuring out the best ways to use Zoom. We're letting our instructors innovate and explore it, said Teresa Kapowski, Student Services Manager. The feedback from teachers and students about Zoom has been overwhelmingly positive. In 2000, Dr. Stanbury did a systemic analysis using systems theory in order to create a community of learners through the interactivity of educational experiences while upholding quality educational standards. She found that distance learning requires that teachers focus their attention on their teaching methodology. Group work often appeared as a noisy three-ring circus, but she believes students achieved course objectives through quality learning experiences.
In his 2012 perceptual analysis, Singh found that whether a student learns naturally depends on the quality of the presentation of the course materials, but also on the introduction of and training in the media used.
It also hangs on the teacher's in-depth knowledge of the medium, which is not always guaranteed in the fast-changing world of IT. It was surprisingly difficult to find research on teachers' perception of virtual meeting rooms, but one article by McConnell and colleagues revealed that teachers prefer face-to-face meetings. But virtual meetings provided teachers with similar social interactions in the professional learning community experience. According to Schroeder, web conferencing may be instrumental in improving learning and communication between instructors and students by reducing the perception of distance. Chien, Xiao, and Na in their 2011 research state that in interactive instructional sessions, students in a web conferencing learning environment experienced a higher level of classroom interactivity than those in a face-to-face classroom environment. Also, students experienced higher perceived learning and satisfaction. Not all is bright, however. In a study by Mark Minot, assistant professor in the Department of Teacher Education at the University College of the Cayman Islands, it was found that additional demands are placed on staff members to change their modus operandi, manage the equipment, and be sensitive to the camera and the students at the remote site. Students are mainly challenged by the technical aspects of virtual meeting rooms or web conferencing and the teaching and learning dynamics. According to Brent Arslaner from Bloomberg Businessweek, in these tough economic times, advancing technologies are making virtual events not only a less expensive replacement for physical meetings, but also a superior one. Why do we have meetings and events? To exchange information and to network. Virtual meeting and event technology can facilitate these two objectives easily. In direct opposition, Spencer Jarrett believes that human face-to-face interaction is, and will continue to be, the most effective form of communication. It's simple. Live meetings deliver the rich, potent experiences that virtual meetings can't. They deliver motivation, along with messaging and inspiration with information. Wayne Termel, blogger, pulls it all together. We treat getting online as something to be endured and kept to an absolute minimum. In the interest of making the best use of everyone's time, we cut out the very things that can help humanize virtual connections. Getting to know the people you're working with. The website that we are creating needs to be interactive, and the concept of virtual meeting rooms is designed to support our collaborative activities. Placing articles, facts, and information on a static website will not allow the flexibility or creativity that APRNs will need to overcome the barriers facing their independent practice. By having virtual meetings with APRNs across the country, we, the Maryland Academy of Advanced Practice Clinicians, can continue to